Hey guys, it's Kezia. Today I wanted to go ahead, tonight I wanted to go ahead and try and knock out the video that I had said was coming for like weeks and weeks after I graduated school, and it just never came. I just had a lot going on, and hey everybody, so last time I was trying to film this video, my camera cut off, and I'm pretty much just going to start over with what I was saying. So don't mind my makeup in that video, and definitely don't mind my makeup in this video. Here in Alabama, it's been really hot, and I've gotten a little darker, so my foundation is really not matching me right now. And I don't have the money to just go out and just keep on buying foundation to keep on matching me, because I mixed two shades already. I mixed the True Match N7 and W7, so I really don't have the money to keep on going and getting all these different foundation shades to try and match my skin tone. So I tried to go like foundationless today, if that makes sense. So I just have on highlighter, eyeshadow, of course, brows, concealer, contour concealer, and then a little bit of powder. So yeah, don't mind that. Don't mind these lashes. One thing I just want to say before we get started, do you guys like these lashes? Because I feel like the band is like so stiff, so it's so hard to get the lashes on your eyes straight. That's really my main concern, is like getting them on there straight, and then they end up like this, and they just look all type of ways, like they're not even all the way on there. But anyway, I digress. Let's go ahead and get straight to the video. And also, if you guys see me looking down, I do have just a few notes. It's not a lot. I know it looks like a lot, but it's really not a lot of notes. I just wanted to have something that I could follow. So yeah, I'm either looking at my notes or trying to make sure I'm lined up with the camera. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Okay, so study this book right here. This is like the most important book throughout your entire esthetician school experience, esthetology course experience, is to study this book, because the Milady's book is what's going to not only help you pass your test in school, but also the state board test. There are a lot of questions similar to what's going to be on the state board in this book. So if you have this book, study this book. Do not take advantage of it like I did. I'm a procrastinator. I have the fastest attention span, and like I have this little notebook, and you know, I've been taking notes in it and doing some of the questions that it asks, and like trying to write down, you know, definitions and trying to remember things, but my mind just doesn't always work like that. So I pray to God that I pass on August 22nd. That's when I take my test to be on this. But anyway, yeah, definitely study the Milady's book. It's just question and answer, and the answers are in the back. Don't go looking back there just trying to get the answers for school. No, from the time that you get that book and you guys start studying that material, you need to do some every night, and then when you finish, do it again, because that's going to help you pass. So study that, and I can make a separate video on how to prepare for state board. You're not allowed to really talk about the test extensively, but I can give you a few pointers on what you need to do and let you guys know how my test goes when I go to take it. Okay, so definitely keep up with that Milady's book. Study it, study it, study it. Make flashcards, and just keep reviewing over everything in there, because you're going to need to know it. And not even just for the test. When you get out into, you know, the world of beauty, or you're working as an esthetician and you see something that's unfamiliar, you're going to need to be able to reference those things that you learned back in school, because they're not just teaching it to you just so that you have material. These are like things that you need to know in order to be a really good skincare specialist and be able to identify problems in different people's skin. So study that book. Go ahead and start getting your state board items together, your state board kit. Get that together. You need a suitcase, and there's a whole list of things that you need. I'll see if I can include that in my next video, if that's something that you guys would like to see of what you need, because I have my kit made. I need to reorganize it, but I have my kit pretty much made up. So go ahead and start getting state board items. Majority of the state board items you can get from the Dollar Tree. like no lie. And my friends know, like, I live at the Dollar Tree. I love Dollar Tree. You need to go to the Dollar Tree, start picking up cotton rounds, start picking up 4x4s, start picking up the manicure scissors, mascara wands, mascara, eyeshadow. You will need these things, and they'll go ahead and tell you why you need them when you get into school, but it'll be best if you just already start picking up some of these items. And I'll try to include a list of things that you'll need below so you can just start going ahead and getting them, because I wish that I had done that, but I got everything. That's all that matters. But just go ahead and start getting your state board items. I wish that they would have told us to get our state board ID picture earlier, but they end up telling us like a few weeks before graduation or a few days before graduation, because they need your ID picture, your passport picture, to send off with your paperwork in order for you to go take the test. So I would just go ahead and get my passport picture now. You can go up to CVS, you can go to Walgreens. I'm pretty sure you can even go to Walmart and take your state board picture. It's about, take your passport picture for state board. It's about maybe $14, and you get 2 copies. So you get one that you'll take to the office for them to send out your paperwork with, and then the other one you'll take to your actual test. I personally am going to retake mine only because I look a hot mess in my state board picture, and I just don't want that to be on my official license. But the one that you're just giving them to ship off the state board to get your test ready and to approve you, you can just, it really doesn't matter, just go take the picture. You can always retake it. But yeah, I will go ahead and get my passport picture done like now. The next thing that I'm about to say, I know people are going to take it lightly, and you shouldn't, but do not take a lot of time off from school. They do not play about attendance. Like, you're not going to be held back at the end, but you will have to stay at school for more than a week if you miss a lot of school. And I'm just going to let you know right now, like, it doesn't matter how many of the hours you're trying to calculate, they will penalize you for missing school, and you have to keep on paying. The more time that you're at school, the more you'll have to pay. So I would not miss a lot of school if I were you. And if you're going to miss school, you need to make sure that you're coming to makeup days. Make up all your hours, do a little overtime. If they have events at school where you can get extra hours, you need to come to those events. It's like, I hardly missed any. Like, my director was pretty much telling me that I needed to take some time off from school because I had too many hours. So I'd rather have too many hours than have no hours at all and then have to stay at school and pay more money. So if I were you, I wouldn't take off a whole lot. I know vacations are pre-planned, but you also need to make a commitment to school. A lot of people get out of high school and think, oh, well, I can still have spring break, or I can still have this break and that break. But that's not what your school says. And yeah, it may not be fair that you're not getting out like everybody else is getting out, but those are not on the same circumstances. Like, this is something totally different, and I would just treat it like a job. If you're not sitting there taking vacations every week on your job, then you don't need to take vacations every week for school. Just try and be at school. Make sure your attendance is over 100%, or at least at 100%, or at least in the 90s in the beginning. That way you can always work your way up. But once you drop too low, it's kind of hard to get your attendance back up, and to keep coming to makeup days and all that stuff like that. So I would just try and make sure that I'm coming to school. The next thing would be, don't be opposed to learning from other people, if that makes sense. So what I mean by that is, just because you normally wouldn't hang out with somebody, or you think this is somebody or that is somebody, get to know their story first, and get to know them as a person before you say, well, this person should be doing this, or I'm not going to sit with them because, like we're in elementary school, and I noticed that a lot in school, and that's my personal opinion. But I did notice that a lot in school of how, like, in the beginning, some people would, kind of look down almost on maybe other people just because, like, they felt like they shouldn't be hanging out with a certain crowd of folks, or, just not getting to know them, not talking to them, not getting to know them before treating them a certain way. I feel like if that person hasn't given you a reason for you to treat them like that, you don't have a reason to treat them like that. Go talk to them, get to know them. So towards the end, like, in the beginning our class had a lot of problems, but towards the end, once people started to get to know each other, a lot of us that were not close in the beginning became like really close friends towards the end, because we sat down, got to know the person, got to know where they're from, their story, what they have to offer. And that changes the dynamic in a relationship when you get to know people first. So don't be opposed to learning from somebody new that you normally wouldn't hang around. Let the person show you who they are first, and you can make your decision after that. Do not stress over the Aveda textbook on the iPad unless you are deciding to work for Aveda. Like if you're going to work for Aveda, you may want to keep it just because it does have some of the protocols in it. Like about the eye treatment and some of the facials, some of the ingredients. You will need to know that stuff. Like if you're going to work for Aveda, I will go ahead and keep that book, but I wouldn't stress about it too much in school. And I only say that because a lot of us stressed about the Aveda textbook when we were in school, and we really weren't using that in our class time. So we're stressing about learning that and doing, you know, work from the Aveda textbook, and we're not even using it. We're doing stuff from the other Aveda textbook, like from the actual paperback book. So I wouldn't stress too much about the actual book, the actual digital book. The next thing that I would like to say is, do not be so focused on being on the retail floor that you have no clientele, you haven't made any personal connections with clientele, and you don't know how to do the facials. Sorry, it's a fly. You'll get so caught up in selling that you have nobody to give you a recommendation because you never spent time in spa. Make sure that you're evening out your time from spa and on the retail floor. Now, at first they let us on the retail floor, then they kind of changed it up and they were like, oh, you're not really supposed to be on the retail floor. So a lot of us stayed back in the spa. Some people stayed up front in retail, which is totally fine, but I'm just saying to make sure you balance your time. I would just say make sure you divide your time evenly between spa and retail floor. Make sure you're studying the information in the textbook and everything that you learn from all the PowerPoints in intro to actually know the information, so that when you leave school you still know it, not just to study the test. I think the teacher, she did the best that she could with what she had and how many students she had, and it was hard to keep our attention because, you know, with so many of us where you're stuck in a classroom for such a long time, and you know, once the tests pop up, like we started having back-to-back tests, you just have to study to be able to pass. So I totally wish that I would have had more time to actually look over the information and know it for myself and not just know it to pass the test. But I also could have went home and studied, you know, on my own time, which I didn't always do that. So I would say study on your own time. Make sure you know the information for yourself so that you know it when you get out of school, and don't just study it to get through school. You're not paying all that money just to go and, you know, gloss through the program and not actually learn anything and have anything stick with you. So definitely learn the information for yourself. Be on time to school. I'll say that the staff, they were pretty strict on our attendance, but sometimes it ended up being like only for certain people. So certain people get there late, they send you home. Other people may get there a few minutes late and they got to stay, or, you know, a warning or something. So it really just depends, I guess, on your behavior at school and how many times you're late, and, you know, as to whether they'll give you a warning or your final chance. You know, just be on time to school. I always had to get there super early, like 7 o'clock. School starts at 9. I always had to get there super early because my mother worked out that way, and since, you know, we have one car, we would just carpool, of course. So she would drop me off and I'd go and just wait in the break room until everybody got to school. But I was on time, and there were some days that I would be late to school, but I guess since I wasn't always late, then they really didn't hold that against me because I made sure I was there the rest of the days and that I was on time for a majority of the days that I was at school. So just try to be on time, get there a little earlier. You're allowed to eat your breakfast in the break room, which is like our little lunchroom, or, you know, out in the hallway, or, you know, just bring your lunch to school. Do what you have to do at school if you can, so that you're not late, and so you get all your hours and you can graduate on time. Do not stress over the protocols. Either way, you need to make sure that you know the facials, so that you're able to execute them in intro and be able to pass your benchmarks. When you get to spa, it's kind of like you do your own thing, but I would suggest that you still know at least most of the movements. You know, you can always doctor something up, but you need to know the base. So know the base of each facial, know the steps. That includes cleanse, pre-cleanse, cleanse, tone, you know, skin analysis, dry brushing, mask, take off, tone. You know the steps. That way you're able to add your own flair on the facials, but at least you know the basis of things. Don't just go in there and just be rubbing something on somebody's face, because that's not going to help you when you get out. And you never know what type of job you're going to end up with. So, you know, don't stress over the protocols too much to the point where you're stressing so much trying to remember everything that you don't put any feeling into it, or you know, just completely forget the protocol. But do know the steps, and if you know the steps of how at least each facial goes, which pretty much they always go like what I just said with the pre-cleanse, cleanse, tone, skin analysis, it pretty much goes like that all the time. If you know the steps, you'll be totally fine, and you're going to end up putting your own flair on things when you hit spa. If you plan on working for an Aveda salon, they will support you 100%, of course, and be behind you on helping you find a job to work at an Aveda salon. So make sure that you're studying the facials, make sure that you're studying the massage. And yeah, we end up, you know, we went through quite an experience being at Aveda, but going out of it, that's all I knew is Aveda. And no, I'm not working at an Aveda salon now, but that's still all I know. That's still my basis of learning. So even when it comes to waxing, I do everything the way I would do it at Aveda, because that's what I know. If you are paying absolutely no attention in school, you're not going to know anything. So imagine you get out into, you know, the beauty world, and you're working for a spa or a doctor's office, and you didn't pay attention in school. You don't even have a basis of learning because you didn't pay attention. If you're going to work for an Aveda salon, again, make sure you know your material, make sure you know the massages, make sure you know the facials, and make sure you know the products definitely as well, and the ingredients. Stay out of drama when you're at school. Now, I'm saying that, but it's pretty hard to stay out of drama in a way, only because even if you're not in the drama, you still have to be around it. And a lot of times it's hard to like have a positive spirit when you're in a lot of negativity. So just try to keep to yourself, you know, keep to your group of friends, and try to stay out of the way. Keep your numbers up. Spas are definitely looking for that. You will have like 2 job fairs, I think, and spas are definitely looking for how high your numbers are when it comes to getting a job. So make sure you are selling things after you do your facials. Make sure that you're selling product. Everybody doesn't like doing the basket program. I know for sure that I never really did the basket program. I kind of just asked them like, oh, do you want to go ahead and buy this? And sometimes I would do the basket program because they did kind of get onto us about not doing it. It wasn't my favorite thing to do because I don't like to force products on people. I don't like to force things on people. But if you must, if that's how you sell your products, make sure you use the basket program to your advantage, and just keep those numbers up, keep selling, and you'll be recognized for it, and it'll definitely pay off in the end once your numbers are high. So stay up on that board and make sure that you have a really good percentage and a really good selling rate.